TGIF, TGIF. Ladies and gentlemen, pat yourself on the back. We have made it to Friday, and you have made it to another episode of Pickup Lines with your humble host, Ernie Zuniga. So nice to have you along. This might be the first one we've done on a Friday, at least it is in a while. And we might have the best, I mean, she's an amazing person, but we might have the best dressed guest in the history of Pickup Lines. Try saying that fast 5 times. Best dressed guest. Natalie Gamez is going to join us here in just a few minutes. This is Pickup Lines presented by Gamez Law Firm. And for 50 years, Gamez Law fights. They have been fighting. To use proper tense. They've been fighting for 50 years. And yes, full disclosure, Natalie Gamez is the daughter of Joe and Carmen Gamez. Joe Gamez, of course, has had the firm, or started the firm in, 1973. And as a matter of fact, we are here at the firm today. They just moved locations recently. And that's not the only thing that's kind of developing at the firm here. We're going to talk to Natalie about that in just a few minutes. But let's give a shout out to our sponsors today because, you know, these things cost money, and it's so great to have help. Phil and Jen at Texas Grounds Coffee Company in Helotes with 2 locations. Treat yourself to a coffee iced. You probably want iced right now, right? I mean, have hot if you want, but it's so hot outside. Iced coffee sounds really good. And the cream puffs, please do yourself a favor and try the cream puffs. But they have 2 locations, and I posted about them yesterday. Phil, served in the military as a vet. Jennifer, the co-owners, was a longtime teacher. So it's just good people serving up good stuff in Helotes, and they have 2 locations. Also, not too far from them, Mia's Mexican Grill, they came on as a sponsor this week. Hey Dolores, they're in Helotes as well at 1604 in Bandera. And if you are craving Mexican food, Tex-Mex tonight, I guess it's past lunch already, but dinner, and if you deserve a margarita, might I suggest the massive margaritas at Mia's Mexican Grill. Thank you to Frank Salas, who came on this week to support our show, and please tell him Ernie sent you when you go to Mia's Mexican Grill there, 1604 and Bandera Road, right off of the highway there. I'm getting hungry right now just thinking about it. I was there the other day for breakfast, and it's really good. So, at any rate, okay, let me check, because yes, she's making her way over here right now. A dear friend of mine who's just, if you look up good people in the dictionary, you're going to probably find among them Natalie Gamez. And she's got an amazing story. And she's one of these people that the more you find out about her, the more you're impressed. And like if she stopped right now, just accomplishing things, you'd be like, it's pretty good. It's pretty good. Natalie, you go, girl. But she's got more to do, and we're going to talk to her about that here in just a minute. So without further ado, let's bring her in. And I don't like to compare guests necessarily, but she might be the best dressed guest we've ever had. Natalie Gamez is here, and I'm going to have to take a picture and post it later on social media because camera is not going to do it justice. But first of all, hello.
Hello.
Please tell our audience what you are wearing here. This is unbelievable.
So I am wearing a custom dress by Phil and Rosie Zavala. They're at Image Avenue off of Fredericksburg. They were my go-to all year for everything from casual wear to cocktails to formal, because as you know, I wore a lot of dresses.
Yes. Phil is I guess it's Wonderland of the Americas. Used to be Crossroads. He has a little shop there.
Mm-hmm.
And as great as this is, it might not top the Fiesta Flambeau dress you wore, the glow-in-the-dark neon.
Oh, yes, they were behind that
creation.
as well. They were so awesome to work with me on that, and technology. I was able to light up in 4 or 5 different colors along the way. It was so much fun, and they were just such great supporters, and I really appreciate them.
Love it. So I know you had a big event, I think it was a week or 2 ago, with a scholarship luncheon, and I want to ask you about that in a minute. But for people who may not know, or you're like, I've seen her, but I can't figure it out, you're the current La Reina Linda.
I am,
for, I guess, a few, more months?
Yes, I think about 6 weeks. Okay. 67 days and 13 hours. I'm just kidding. But yes, in October I will happily crown Stephanie Garcia, who is going to be our Reina Linda number 10, and I'm really excited for the great things that she'll do for our position.
I think I heard you tell the story not too long ago where, was it your mom, when you were approached about this role,
Yes.
Your mom, did she kind of like told you to do this? Or?
Yeah, she used rather colorful language, but in a nutshell, she said, I'm too old for this, but my daughter loves Fiesta. I think she'd be great at this. So that's how it came to be.
Right. It's been well documented, obviously, and not too long ago, you made history as the first openly gay queen, La Reina Linda, and we can talk about that too. But when you were approached with this, your initial reaction, was it like, I don't know, or like, I'm all in, yes, let's do this?
It was absolutely sign me up, but wait, I have children.
Two little
I have
children.
2 little ones. I have a 3 and a 5-year-old, and so, I had to take a step back to say, is this the right thing for them? But with the great support from my family, my parents, my in-laws, my wife, of course.
Yes.
We were able to make it happen, and I had them at the forefront, and then once we took care of that, it was a no-brainer to give back to the community, have fun, and then Fiesta. I mean, I've been a Fiesta queen from the womb. I love Fiesta. Everything Fiesta, I love. So it was a great opportunity.
I love it, and I'd be remiss if I didn't, because when you came in, I thought there was going to be like horns playing, and you're going to come in on a
my
float.
Chariot.
What you did bring, you do have a little. Here, let me pardon my reach, but let me bring this over here because I think I know what this is.
Yes, absolutely.
It's not a cake. It's not a cake. But go ahead. You want to tell us about what's in here?
I will do the honors. So, of course, I've got my sash.
Yes.
Which, if Stephanie's watching this, do not put your sash in with your crown.
So I need a bigger car, apparently, is what this is. We're finding out here.
Yes, but this is my beautiful crown right here. And it is as heavy as it is beautiful. I remember being at one event in front of the Alma thinking, how am I going to do this for 10 days? But I've worked to just reposition it because it is heavy. Heavy is the head that wears a crown. That's true.
That's true. And now I guess you wear it for a few more weeks, like you said, and then I guess you'll have to find a place to put it, or put it in the law firm, in the office.
I just might wear it at home. But but yeah, maybe somewhere up, because I'm proud of my journey and it was a lot of fun.
Looking back on it now, can you put it into words, like what that was like? And I want to bring that to the scholarship luncheon, which happened, was it a week or 2 ago? That's the afternoon where all the scholarships are handed out, and you see the real raw reactions of these families that are getting this money. Exactly,
yes. Just from the very beginning, I mean, it was different phases. It was absolutely yes, and then it was, we have to raise this money, and approaching folks, and calls went unanswered, and but at the same time, people came out of the woodwork to donate for the cause. So that was so much fun, and then obviously getting to enjoy Fiesta, and then bringing it back to this moment. What it was all about is about the children and being able to help them pursue a higher degree, because for a lot of them, it would be out of the question because they cannot afford it. So it was awesome, and during that luncheon, Mr. Gabriel, the president, and he actually said, today we normally would give 2,000, but we are going to give 4,000. So they doubled the scholarships right there, which was awesome. It was a really exciting experience.
I love it. Did any of that take you back? Because I know you went to St. Mary's, but high school wise, you went to
so Communication Arts High School, which is the magnet school at TAPS. Yeah. So absolutely, and because it's so nerve-wracking, what the decision that you make today will affect your future, and so making sure you're choosing the right school, making sure you can afford that school. So it was great to be a part of that, to know that we were sitting amongst future leaders, community leaders, and it was awesome.
Throughout your reign, I know kindness was part of your message, and you incorporated basketball into all of that. But how did that go for you, doing that?
Well, for me, as the first openly gay queen, it was important for me to say, look, I'm different, and it's okay to be different, but we have to be kind to each other and respect each other. And as you notice, these are great lessons for not only students, but as adults too, in the climate that we're in.
Yes.
It's okay for us to think different, but have different views, and it's important for that, but we have to be kind and respect, and have a professional civility.
Yeah.
So that was my message, and we passed kindness. So I literally would take a basketball and pass it over, and encourage the students to pass kindness to each other throughout the day.
I gotta believe, I don't know this for sure, but I gotta believe that during the course of your reign, and maybe it still continues, there has to have been somebody that came up to you, either publicly or privately, and was like, thank you for what you're doing. Maybe somebody who was thinking about coming out, or who was a member of the LGBTQ community. I gotta believe that happened to you at least once or twice.
It didn't, and surprisingly, a lot of times it was the parents.
Really?
The parents to say, like, we've been going through some things, and this has been challenging, and we don't quite know how to handle this. And I even had a grown man cry with me. Wow. It was really touching, but I just gave him the best advice I could say was, just love your children. Just love your children through anything. Support them as much as you can. Change is hard. It wasn't always easy for my parents. People look at it today and say, like, wow, your parents are so awesome. And they've always been awesome, but it's not always been easy.
And you've been open about that, too, which I think is important, because it's not like a fairy tale Hollywood story or something where everything wraps up in 30 or 60 minutes. But you've talked about some of the struggles early on. I know your parents, and I know them to be amazing, fabulous people. But you have chosen to be open about that journey. Right,
absolutely. There's something special in being vulnerable, because we can all relate to each other. And so many times we want to say, well, that didn't happen to me, or that doesn't apply to me. But the truth is, we all have our things going on in life, and we just have to be honest about them.
All right, so you did your thing at TAP, or Communications Arts, and then the basketball thing. Yeah. How did that happen, or were you recruited by a bunch of schools, and ultimately you chose St. Mary's, but how did that happen?
So I knew I wanted to stay close to home.
Okay.
I wasn't quite ready to spread my wings, although I didn't call my parents the first 2 weeks there at school, and they're like, don't forget you have parents. But I wanted to go somewhere where they could come visit me. I had like 30 to 40 family members at each basketball game. The Catholic tradition there was very important to me at St. Mary's, so it just made sense. But I signed early, so I committed early. I knew what I wanted, and I wanted to go somewhere where I knew I could make the most impact.
Well, you certainly did. So correct me if I'm wrong. Are you the all-time leader in three-point shooting?
I am,
at St. Mary's, like today, to this day. You went to the Hall of Fame in 2020?
Yes.
Okay, so it just so happens that I found this just lying around on the computer, and I printed it out.
Oh boy!
So tell me about this Natalie Gamez right here.
Oh man! If I could go back and give Natalie Gamez some advice, drop the headbands everywhere I go. I wear headbands. But no, honestly, we had such a great run there. To this day, I'm such good friends, sisters with my college teammates. We get together. We're now parents together, which is crazy. So we just had such a great run. We went on a 24-game winning streak. We went to the Nationals 2 or 3 times. So we had a really great experience.
Pro basketball? I mean, did you consider pursuing that?
I did. And I've been approached about Mexico, and I wish I would have maybe taken him up on that. But your body goes through so much, and at the time maybe I was a little burnt out or just ready to make money. so I didn't, but it worked out the way it was supposed to.
It worked out. Now, I'm just trying to do a little math in my head. Just again, this is Natalie Gamez, and I would never ask a woman her age, but obviously college, you're in your early 20s probably.
Yes.
And if I understood correctly, that's about the time you came out to your parents.
Yes, it was. It was.
I wonder because going through that and achieving on the basketball court, did basketball help you through that at all, or how were you able to do all of that at the same time?
Yeah, it's challenging, but I think sports in general just prepares you for the future and helps you get through adversity, because you don't like all your teammates necessarily, you don't always get along with each other, and then it prepares you to have those tough conversations, because you have tough conversations with your coach, and so I think it prepared me, and then it was also an outlet, because at the end of the day I just wanted to go shoot some hoops and take it all out on the court.
Because that's what, 2009-ish, around that time? I mean, 14 years ago, but a different time, to be clear.
It was, absolutely different. And there's so much love and support now that maybe wasn't there. And so I love to see the shift, the evolution. People are talking about mental health and things that were very closeted back then.
Taboo. You don't talk about mental health, back then.
Exactly. I was just talking to my cousin, and he talked about his therapist. And I was like, it is great to be able to have conversations with men, with people who normally wouldn't talk about mental health. So just all in all, just whether it's LGBT issues, mental health, whatever it is, we're talking big about things that we didn't before.
But I think you're just such a great ambassador for all these things and what you've done. And I was saying this before you came in the car. I was like, if you stopped achieving things right now, that's a pretty good run.
Thank
you. That brings us to the next chapter that you're getting to write, which, by the way, I should mention, this is Pickup Lines presented by Gamez Law.
We should probably mention them, huh?
I feel obligated every time I say Gamez Law fights. I always do that.
Well, may I?
We've
got something for you to be able to do that, Ernie.
Wait a minute.
And I think it's the best transition.
This is not in the script.
Gamez Law fights, and then you know what? Ernie Zuniga's got our back, so we needed to make sure that he had his own pair of boxing gloves Ernie Zuniga
Are you
here,
kidding
your
me?
custom-made Gamez Law Fights.
Stop it. I did not.
boxing gloves.
Okay. This is. Thank you very much.
You're
Okay.
welcome.
So, who gets credit for coming up? Because like attorneys, I think a lot of them have catchphrases. They have commercials, things like. Who came up with Gamez Law Fights?
You know, we have to give credit to my brother. I imagine my brother is he's a creative genius. He's a visionary. So I think probably he was the one who came up with it, and probably because he saw my dad, firsthand fighting in the courtroom, and he said, you know what, we need to tag this line.
And so that brings us to kind of the next chapter for you. You put this out here recently, and we're in the month of August. Have you, or you're about to begin law school?
Yes, I will begin law school on Monday. So,
in like 3 days from now?
Yes. This is my last run. This is the last time I'm wearing the crown before, but I'm equal parts excited and terrified. But I think that's how they call 1Ls feel going into it.
So, for people who don't know about that timeline, that's, what is it, like a 3-year process?
It is 3 years, and then you take the state bar.
Okay. I saw somewhere the other day you mentioned that if your parents had their way, you would have been an attorney a long time ago.
Yeah.
But you decided to do your thing and were very, very successful at it, and you felt like this was the time to do it.
Yeah, I honestly think that all of my failures and my successes have brought me to this moment right now. And so everything happens for a reason, and this was the best time. Because, going with students that are, quite honestly, could be my children isn't ideal, but they are being so awesome and helpful, and technology has changed a lot.
Right.
But it's never too late, so here I am.
So we're sitting in the parking lot of the brand new office. You guys had to relocate recently, I guess, because you needed more space.
Which
right?
is a good problem to have, and the employees, they deserved it.
Yeah.
At the Gamez Law Firm, I truly believe we have the best employees, and they have more space to just be in. Even you saw them being able to just sit back and relax during lunch period and have time to do that.
Hold on, I don't want the microphone blocking your head here. I don't know what's happening. All right. So, by the way, 410 Vance Jackson, we're on Moss Rock, by the way, if people are just trying to figure out, like, where are they located now and this and that and everything. So the transition is happening behind the scenes. There's a plan in place for eventually when you finish law school, you will become the Gamez that fights.
Gamez will still keep fighting. So it's a family business. My dad has created such a legacy and helping his clients, helping the community, giving back. That's huge for my parents. They believe in all their blessings, sharing all their blessings. Right. So, I'd hate to see it end here. So here we go.
No, here you go. Here you go. There's no looking back now. I've heard stories and kind of just secondhand information about your dad and your mom giving back. Your dad went to Lanier, right?
He did.
And where they just cut checks and they do things very quietly, not looking for a lot of, press or attention. But you find out, they paid for these uniforms here, or they took care of the band here, the mariachi, whatever it is. I mean, that's been happening for a long time.
It has, and things will come up, and I'm surprised, but I guess really not so because of their giving hearts. But they both come from humble backgrounds, and I believe that they are trying to provide opportunities to students that they didn't have. And they believe in the heart of the West Side, the students. They just need opportunity, and so they want to be the ones to provide that opportunity. How
much have you thought about what you're going to be like in the courtroom when it's your turn to take this over and how to conduct yourself?
Right. Well, I think kind of like I was on the basketball court, very nice off court, but on the court, it was business, and you didn't want to make an enemy out there of me.
So you'll be doing the commercials in a few years and all that stuff?
Yeah, well, I jumped in on a few commercials with my dad recently, and so I have a lot of fun with that. So yeah, you never know, but I think that's the plan.
Yeah. Okay, motherhood. You have a 5-year-old, and does that mean kindergarten?
Almost. He's
almost kindergarten.
Yes, yeah, next year he will be. He's right on the cusp of summer birthday, but yes, a 3 and a 5-year-old. And my wife and I, we're in the trenches, but we are slowly getting out of them. They can actually play together in the other room without, supervision. So
no, and I got to know Tracy, your wife, during the Fiesta run, and again, just as nice as you would expect, as great as you would expect. I told Tammy and I mentioned that these are people that we want to hang out with away from Fiesta. Like you guys give off that vibe.
Well, thank you. We thought the same thing about you. We call them friend crushes.
I like it.
We have friend crushes on you and your wife.
Well, thank you. So having 2 young boys, if I were like to finish this sentence, my 2 boys mean blank.
The world to me.
Yeah.
I was talking to a student that's also starting up as well, a classmate, and I said I want my children to be the reason why I succeed at this and not the reason why I don't. But my parents, they always put us first, and as a parent now, I commend them for that. it's challenging. Parenthood is hard, but it is certainly, and I preach to the choir, right? But it's certainly worth it and rewarding. And now I know what everybody's talking about with those cliches. But, you wouldn't change it for the world. Yeah, you really wouldn't.
So my twins are going to be 13 on August 30th in like 2.5, 3 weeks, and so I will officially have 3 teenagers in the house.
Wow, bless you.
So light a candle, please, a novena, whatever you have to do.
We need some more sponsorships. You've got to pay for those 3 teens.
We need whatever it takes. But it's amazing. It's just what you're taking on and what you're doing. There are people out there who might be thinking about being on Fiesta Royalty or getting more involved with Fiesta. What would you tell them about the commitment and just what that's all about?
It is so worth it. I knew going into it would be a lot, and it was. But all the blood, sweat, and tears were absolutely worth it. It was such an experience. And in fact, I was told you wouldn't understand it unless you go through it. And it's so true. And now I understand why people are crazy enough to go back for a second time, like you, Ernie. And I found out technically there have been kings in the past that have done it again.
Yes.
So if any queens in the future need to step down for any reason, I hope my wife isn't listening, but I'm here to step up again.
It's an exclusive. It's official. Well, listen. Stephanie will be La Reina Linda X, so it's a small club. I think the other La Reina de la Feria de las Flores has been around for 75 years, but your La Reina Linda has only been around for about a decade.
Yeah, and we it started off as like a sister to Rey Feo, and it's 2023. Women are strong. We're in powerful positions. We're professionals in this community, and so it's just a way for us to touch other folks and raise more money for the community. So we're small, but we're forming a sisterhood, and to hopefully have that camaraderie so that we can continue doing good.
So Mariela Lopez was on my court with me, and then I'm going to do the court again with Stephanie Garcia here in 2024. And it's just, I know you've gotten together a few times, and it's like across the board, these women are just, yourself included, are amazing people.
Yes. I think it's good. We're almost like a sister to the Feria de las Flores. So I think it's a bigger sister, older sister. So it's good to have us, and then truly just the experience that we've had.
Yeah.
I think we bring a lot to the table.
All right, a few more minutes with Natalie Gamez of Gamez Law Fights. I love props now. Can I keep these for a little bit?
These are yours.
Oh,
these
good.
Are all yours.
So next week for the show, when I say Gamez Law Fights, I can do that.
Yes, I saw they brought live animals, and I said, well, how am I going to compete with that?
But Natalie didn't bring any animals. That was the zoo last week. No, you guys have been very supportive, and it means a lot to me as I'm just trying to grow this and everything. But do you have any final tallies in terms of number of dresses you had for Fiesta and how much money you raised? I know it was I don't know if you broke records or shattered records, but you raised a lot of money.
Yes, when it was all said and done, we raised $125,000, which I think is a lot of money.
It is a lot of money.
And it was
more than you were obligated to.
Right, we were obligated to raise $50,000, but we just had so much love and support, and people really rallied behind us. And what I realized is that not only within the Rey Feo organization, but Fiesta in general, people like to Fiesta like there's no tomorrow. Like you think 100 events, no one will attend this one. It's 101 events, and people show up. So it's great to feel that support throughout the community.
And they're adding new events like every Fiesta. Because it's like a 2 or 3 year process to get an event considered and then sanctioned and approved. And every year they're adding more and more stuff. I'd
be remiss if I didn't mention our king, Larry Kurth.
Yeah, of course.
The Royal Consort, Abby Kurth. They are great, and they've actually themselves created organizations. Fiesta, there was forgive me, I don't remember the name, but the motorcycle Fiesta event, and so many. So it's possible. People just need to find what they like, because chances are there's going to be a Fiesta. I mean, animals, motorcycles. I mean,
there's all kinds of possibilities. I mean, but no, you're right, because I was honored to MC a few things and help out with Larry in the court as much as I could. And again, he just picked a rock star group of people to pull that off.
I guess you are who you surround yourself with.
That's exactly what my mother said.
Yes, he was awesome, and he still is. We're actually going to talk business after this. I'm going to help them with their Medicare health insurance. So they're just great, and they chose a rock star in Renee Vasquez, Feria de las Flores. So we're just such a great team, and God, we're going to miss each other. But apparently you keep up with each other throughout the years, right?
You do. Well, we have the text thread, you have that, and if you have characters on your court like we did, you'll
Yes.
get some interesting texts and posts sometimes. I won't name any names.
At all hours of the night, right?
At all hours of the night, but it keeps it fun. I don't know how much spare time you have, but what do you like to do? What are your interests and hobbies when you're not practicing law or raising your sons or doing other things?
Yeah, well, I love multitasking. So if I'm, I like watching TV while I'm listening to podcasts while I'm, cleaning the kitchen. So I love being active. I rarely sit down, but I still enjoy playing basketball, although I'm a little bit nervous about getting hurt. So I hang out with friends, spend as much time as I can with my family. You
were dribbling, like, between your legs, basketballs, in heels, at school visits when you were doing your thing.
Yeah, I realized quickly that this crown falls off when you try to shoot a three-pointer. Actually, I almost knocked myself out one time. But yeah, I had a lot of fun. So you're always the one giving interviews. Can I ask you a few questions?
You can ask me.
I told Tracy if we have any time.
Gamez Law is in the name of the show, so you can pretty much do whatever you want.
So could you share with us, since you're always the one doing the interviews, we'd love to hear, can you share something that happened on air, like an embarrassing or funny story?
Oh, gosh. Well, when I was, we were just talking about this the other day in San Antonio. I had hiccups. I had hiccups one day, really bad one morning, and it would not go away. And it became apparent it was not going to go away. So we turned it into where we asked the viewers, all right, what do you recommend? I would do that, and then we try to read a serious, and then we do that. So people were sending us, breathe through a straw. And have a teaspoon of honey, and go upside down, and so nothing would work. Nothing would hold your breath. Nothing would work. Back then on the set, we had a recliner where we would sit, kind of similar to how I'm sitting right now. Well, Lois, who you might have met in the studio at one point, came behind me during a commercial, and went bing on my sides and tickled me. I'm a little ticklish. And it startled me enough. That did it.
That was it.
That was it.
Okay.
I had to do an interview. I'll never forget. I interviewed a local director, a movie director, on our couch in the studio, and I did the interview with hiccups. And to his credit, he was great, but it was highly embarrassing. The other thing that comes to mind was I wore this was like the second weekend I was ever on the air. My dad wanted to treat me because I had just gotten this TV job, and he said, "I'm going to go buy you a jacket, a sports coat." To this day, I hate trying on clothes. So
really?
He said, pick out a coat. I said, well, I want this one. Well, I didn't try it on. So I take it to the TV station, and it's 5 minutes till we go on the air. I put the coat on. I get up on the set. I was like 20 years old at the time. Phones start ringing. The phones are ringing off the hook.
Oh, no. That's never a good sign.
No, it's not. Come to find out, and the video is somewhere on the internet or somewhere, and it's the jacket was easily 3 or 4 sizes too big. I mean, I look like you remember the Mini Wheats commercials in the 80s with the kids shrunk. It was terrible, and people called me things and said things that I can't repeat here. But it was a lesson learned.
Always try on.
Always try on, and look at yourself in the mirror before you go on the air to make sure you don't look like an idiot with a gigantic coat on.
There we go. Never happened again.
So, no. But there have been so many crazy moments over the years.
You could write a book, I'm sure.
I probably could if I. Will you ever write a book? Because you've got amazing stories to tell.
One thing I would be interested in, if anybody's listening out there, is a children's book. As a mother, we read every single night. 2 books. If you start giving 3, 4, we're never going to bed.
So you do that every night?
Yes, every night. Every night we do. And so I'd love to do that. I would love to write a children's book.
Enjoy it now before your kids start getting devices and they're like...
Yeah. And that was my next question for you. Any advice as a parent?
Oh my gosh. It's just like you said earlier, just supporting an unconditional love. And we have twins, but they're so absolutely different.
How are they so different, right?
Our
boys are total opposites.
Boy, girl, every personalities, interests, everything is so different, and so you have to tailor that to each unique personality. And I think spend time. And you do this already, but just spend time. Kind of that's what I've been trying to take advantage of with this time that I've had since I left the TV. Is I don't have to go to bed at 7 in the evening anymore. I don't have to get up at 2:30 in the morning. You
can have breakfast with them in the morning.
I have so those kinds of things that others might have taken for granted.
Right.
I mean, this is a big deal to me. And so those kinds of things, and just be present, as much as I can.
Because it's so hard, like social media or texting, group texting, to be present. So I really tried to work on. I have a social media blocker on my phone. My friends are like, "Are you okay?" I'm like, "Well, yeah, I just actually can't communicate with you because you are blocked during certain hours." The
devices. I mean, we can talk later when your boys get older, but that's a whole other animal. Trying to limit their time, and let's put the iPhone down and let's go outside, or let's but it's 110 degrees. I was like, well, okay, let's figure something out, But so. Well, I'm so thrilled for you. I felt bad taking this time away from you when you're about to start law school on Monday.
No, this is great distraction. And this is the last fun I'll have. I'll be reading all day tomorrow and the next day. So.
Oh, my God. Well, I can't wait to see where your legal journey takes you. And maybe I'll come sit in the courtroom one day just to watch you do your thing. But what a great resume you've written so far, and just inspired so many people.
Thank you.
Myself included. So thank you. And I will cherish these. And they will stay in the card. I have a show on Monday. So on Monday, these things, and you personalize them. Natalie, thank you so much.
Gamez Law Firm.
Well, hold on. Let's do it. Let's do it one more time.
There we go.
So for 50 years, long before Natalie came along.
That's true.
Gamez Law fights.
There we go.
So great to see you. All the best to you.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, this has been Pickup Lines presented by Gamez Law Firm with the great Natalie Gamez here. Until next time, have a good weekend.
Thank you. Bye-bye.